I know this is really, really close, but I've tried filming this video, like, this is the fourth time that I'm doing this. So I just figured, you know what, I'm going to shoot it like this, just like we're talking. Yeah, every time that I go to film this, like, something happens. It's so weird. Like, the first time I didn't like the video. I just was grossed out by it. just looking at myself. But then the second time I filmed it, I had uploaded it, but then I thought I heard something. So yeah, so I went back and I listened to it, and the music was way too loud. Like, the sound was just all off, so I took it down. I didn't want my first video back on talking to you guys to be horrible. Like, I wanted you to be able to hear me, because I know that whenever the music gets too loud when I'm watching videos, if I can't hear the person, it's just too distracting and I can't get past it. So yeah, I just tried to film it again, and then I went into a freaking coughing fit. I didn't have coughs before then, so I don't know. So this is the fourth time. I'm going to try to shoot it all the way through. Um, we'll see what happens, but I want to get this up and I want you guys to see it. I've been doing a lot of sewing. I've been doing these COVID masks. So right here is like the one that I'm working on right now. This is my little sewing figure. This is a skirt that I'm working on, and then a little thing. And then I just put one of my Halloween masks on top, just to give that creep vibe. But anyway, so yeah, so I wanted to tell you guys a story. I've already filmed part 2, so the part 2 is already out there. So this is part 1, and this is a story about some experiences that I had working at a hotel a few years ago. I worked at this particular hotel for 2 years, and over time I experienced different things here and there. I remember one night, let me back up. So whenever you work a third shift, you maybe have 3 people, and that's including maybe 2 front desk people and then a maintenance person or security. Otherwise, it's down to either 2 people or yourself. So I was working with this one guy, and I had to go do something in the back hallway. And if you've ever worked in a hotel, you know that there's like usually a connecting hallway that connects front desk or the offices, and then the restaurants, your break rooms, your laundry, all of that. So this particular one, from the front desk to that back hallway, we had to walk through. I keep thinking I hear things and I see things. So, sorry. So you have to walk through the HR office in order to get to that back hallway. So overnight we always would like turn out the lights to the human resources office because we're the only ones there, and what's the point of having all that electricity on when you don't need it? We used to get in trouble also, a coworker and I, about dimming the lobby lights, but we didn't see anybody really overnight, so yeah, we used to get in trouble for that. But pardon. Oh, I have my water here too. Okay, we're gonna make it through. We're gonna tell the story. I want you guys to hear it. And it might sound crazy when I tell the story, but I promise this happened. I still today, I think that I'm crazy for what happened that night, but it was just okay. So it all started one night when I went to walk back to, I think it was the break room or something. I walked through the office, and there was always this little corner of the office that was a little freaky, just because, you know, if it's a dark corner and you're walking through it, you always feel like somebody or something is in that back dark corner. So we used to just like run past that area, and then we get into the back hallway and the lights were bright again. So I remember coming back from doing whatever it was. I started walking into back into the office, and I heard, hey, just like out of nowhere. There was nobody with me except for the person at the front office, and nobody else was there. And I remember I heard that one other time while I was there. So fast forward to, I don't remember when it was, but it was later. Gosh, I can't remember who I was working with that night, but that doesn't matter. So every morning around like 5 a.m. ish, give or take, usually front desk or night auditors will make coffee for the breakfast crew that's coming in, get it ready for them, yada yada. And so this particular night, as I was going into the kitchen area to make the coffee, I started seeing like little flashes of lights on the wall. And the best way to describe these lights were as if there was a car turning on, like, you know, they're like turning in front of your house and their lights like hit your, you know, your wall, and they kind of reflect off. That's what it looked like. However, there was no traffic, there were no cars, nothing. So yeah, so that was really weird. And then I remember I would walk into the back kitchen. In the back kitchen, I never, if you know me, or just like a little unknown or known fact, whatever, about me is I don't like to keep a lot of lights on. You know, like I will turn out the lights if it's somewhere that I'm comfortable with and I know the area, I know the layout, I kind of know where everything is at. I don't turn on the lights. Like if I can, I mean, as long as it's not pitch black. I don't really like bright lights. Like I have my lights on right now, but it's just for this video. Otherwise, I don't have them all on. So there were times when I would walk into the back kitchen. So you walk into the kitchen to kind of give the little layout of it. You'd walk into the kitchen, you'd have the coffee, and you'd have like where the chef would make their eggs and their sausage and all that stuff. And then you have the back kitchen where the dirty dishes, you know, are washed, where the whole thing is, and then where they prep the food. So it's where they prep the food. I would take my, you know, the dirty dishes, so it's, you know, it's two opposite directions. But I would drop my dirty dishes, whatever it was, and I would come back. But I remember always seeing like this figure in the corner of like the kitchen area. And I was not the only one who experienced that, because I remember telling a couple of the kitchen crew people who, you know, about this thing that I would always see, and they would back me up and say that, you know what, we saw the same thing. So it's good to know that you're not, you know, going crazy, or you feel like you're not the only one going crazy. So this same night, I'm getting coffee ready, and I keep looking out into the lobby area. So when you walk into this hotel, and it's like this in most hotels, but when you walk in, you have a place over to usually like the left-hand side or whatever. But as you walk in, there's a place where they have like water and coffee. If it's winter, they have hot chocolate. And this was the area that we had to set up every day. It's called the coffee table. So we, you know, I was getting the coffee ready, and I remember looking over, and we had the lights dimmed as well at the same time. But I kept seeing that, like a black figure just kind of lingering in this area. And for the most part, like for that, I chalked it up to it's just my imagination. I'm just, you know, I'm working overnight. You know, it's getting to me. So I continue on, and, you know, I get the table set up. Everything is good to go. All that I have to do is just, at this point, finish out my shift. It's like maybe, I can't remember what time it is, but I think I had set that coffee up early, so it was like around 4 o'clock, because it wasn't quite time for breakfast people to come down or show up, and it was enough time for me to just like sit and read a book. So I was sitting out in the lobby area. So on one side of this like whole entrance area, you have the dining room, and then on the other side you have the lounge area. The coffee table section, you know, splits it off. But there was one other table that was in the lobby area, or the lounge area. And so I remember I was sitting there and I was reading this book, and I had like a little Post-it that I was using as my bookmark, and I had it sitting on the arm of my chair. And all of a sudden, like, I'm reading, but out of the corner of my eye, I see this like post-it note go, like, it just moved a little bit, and I was like, wow, that is the strangest thing, because that, like, there's no wind. But so I was like, okay, well, maybe, you know, whatever. So I tried to debunk it. I literally was like waving my hand, and I was like blowing on it to see if it would do the same thing, and I would like bump the chair, and nothing. It wouldn't recreate it. I tell you, I kid you not, right after that, two things happened simultaneously. One, okay, so the table that was kind of right in front of me, I heard like I don't know if you can hear this, but like this scratching noise. And then the entrance door opened up. Now, I have a video about with the story where I told you about how about another opening door, and that's a completely different hotel, same town but different hotel. So okay, so that happened a couple of times. The door opened and closed. Nobody was coming in, nobody was outside. I did get up to check and see if, like, there's this little, I call it the community cat, because there's this little black and white cat who would just roam the town. I would see him at work, and I would see him, you know, at my apartment, and he would just, like, roam the town. So I was like, oh, maybe it's that cat, you know, because I see him every now and again, like, run past. And, nope, no cat. Nothing. Nothing was there. And so, okay, I was like, all right. So I went to the bathroom. Went into the bathroom. I think on part 2, I think I tell you guys some other incidences about this particular bathroom. But I went inside the room, or the bathroom, and the third stall, we call it the haunted stall, just because, like, in that particular one, there were stories about, like, this housekeeping guy who would work overnight. Well, it was a trial thing, so he didn't last very long, for whatever reason. But he said he went into the bathroom and he put the roll of paper, you know, the new roll of paper, and then he came back later, and it was like a cat, like, bumped it, you know? I was like, so all of the toilet paper was on the ground. Nobody had been in there. I'm the only girl, so I'm the only one who would have gone in there at that time, because the other guy that I work with, definitely, like, he's old, and he wouldn't do that. So yeah, so I go to the bathroom, and I start hearing, like, I'm in there, I'm just like, okay, whatever, and I start hearing this, like, clang clang noise, like, if you can imagine, like, two pipes banging together, like, clang clang, clang 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 clang, just over and over, clang clang, clang clang. I had never heard that sound ever in that bathroom, and I went to the bathroom all the time. And at night, it's quiet, you can hear everything, and I had never heard that sound in the bathroom, ever. So, when I left, I messaged the girl who was supposed to be there later on. I was like, please, just, like, I wish that you would just be here right now. I never normally get freaked out, but for whatever reason, I was freaked out this night. And, yeah, a few other things happened while I worked here, and that is I'm going to save that for for part 2. So I'm going to go ahead and stop at this part of the story. But yes, the town that I lived in was known. So we lived in a town called Kalispell, Montana. It's just a little town, like a little tourist town. It's between Missoula, Montana, and Whitefish, and it's like 45 minutes away from Glacier National Park. And there's stories of opium dens underground, and the caves and whatnot. I don't know how true that is, but there's definitely, like, a kind of spooky vibe in this town. So there's other stories that I want to share with you, but I'm going to go ahead and stop here on this one, and we'll pick up in part 2. I really hope that you enjoyed this story of the haunted hotel. If you have any stories of haunted hotels, or if you, you know, have any places that you'd like to have checked out. You can put it. I get so nervous when I talk about my stories. But I always, when I get nervous in general, I tend to just like all the words just come together. But yeah, I would love to hear your stories as well. So if you want to leave them down below in the link, make sure to like and subscribe and share this video if you enjoyed it. Hopefully this one goes through. I hope that you guys are having a great night wherever you are, and I will see you next video.